Richard Stallman's general public license have any influence in the Creative Commons license?
Oh, totally. We stole Richard Stallman's idea and built it in the context of culture. Right now the regime is all rights reserved. If you want to do anything, ask permission first, and if you don't, you are a pirate. We want to change that regime to a regime where authors can make it easy for people to understand the freedoms they have with the content.
Can you make money if you publish under a Creative Commons license?
This more flexible licensing system actually makes it easier for certain kinds of creators to make more money. And I myself, when I published my latest book called Free Culture, my publisher, Penguin Press, suggested we release the book free online under a Creative Commons license at the same time that the book was being sold in bookstores. Over 500,000 people downloaded the book. And most people don't want to read a book on a computer, so that actually increased the number of sales of the book.
There was a story with regards to Disney and how they wanted to extend the copyright with regards to the brand Mickey Mouse.
They desired to extend the term of copyright, and they concocted these extraordinary, elaborate stories about why it was necessary. The irony is that the Disney Corporation is now making it so that nobody can do to Disney what Disney did to the Brothers Grimm, by making it so that copyright rules restrict the opportunity of people to build on Disney's work, even though Disney built upon other people's work. One of the things we hope that Creative Commons might do is make it easier for culture internationally to be spread and understood and compete with this dominant Hollywood model. I think its most important contribution right now is going to be in the context of developing nations.
Some rights reserved. I'm quite reserved. I am. Can you see? That's reserved. That's one. I reserve the right not to get spam.
What would you do if more than half your mail was junk mail? The reality is that junk mail isn't such a problem these days, but its electronic counterpart is.
Spam is the scourge of the internet. It's grown exponentially in the last few years as email has become more and more widespread.
Since 2002, internet use has grown from 200 million to 800 million people worldwide. In that period, spam has grown from a paltry 20% to approximately 65% of all internet traffic. At current rates, it will expand to 80% or more in the next 2 years.
It completely sullies the idea and the point of the internet and of email, which is much easier, faster, quicker to use communication.
MWeb, one of South Africa's largest internet service providers, has been fighting the phenomenon for many years. We asked them how one falls prey to spam.
There are various ways for email addresses to get out into the spam world. There are organizations out there collecting email addresses. There are various spiders and robots on the internet searching websites, looking for places where email addresses are entered, and these are collected. If there's a live body at the other end of an email address, in other words, someone responding to an email, either responding and saying, please don't send me this, or please unsubscribe me, that email becomes a usable email address.
So you're telling me if you ask to be removed or unsubscribed, you will in fact be targeted?
Yeah, they consider you a live body, and that becomes a very valuable email address.
Where's the money? How do these people make money? Because somewhere they've got to be making money, and essentially spam is an economy of scale. You're sending out 500,000 emails. If you get 50 or 60 replies, you can make $50 or $60.
In October, spam is estimated to have accounted for 80% of all internet traffic. How long is it before we are buried underneath a mountain of junk? When did MWeb decide that spam was becoming such a problem that they had to enact a policy to prevent it?
Well, about 2 years ago, I guess, and the last 18 months in particular, we started seeing anything from 40 to 60% of incoming mail as spam. And we had been for a long time investigating different ways of combating spam. So we had very simple filters in place when spam techniques were still quite simplistic. Since then, of course, we've advanced our technology to include a system which we think is very, very effective against fighting spam.
But how do you fight it? How do you decide what is spam and what isn't?
Well, we've selected a piece of software called Spam Assassin, which is an open source technology. So we've taken the software, we've looked at what it does, and it's really based on a technique called heuristic programming, which is in essence a branch of artificial intelligence. Now with the Spam Assassin product, we have the ability to set the level of effectiveness And we've set it to a level where we try and avoid creating what is commonly called a false positive. In other words, we don't like to block mail that is actually legitimate. And so the spam filter learns about incoming email, and it builds on a history.
It's a bit like building a house and having, leaving the doors and windows open. Maintaining the software, maintaining virus definitions, downloading new spam filtering software when it comes out. I just think it's unfortunately part of the game.
Oh look, it's 1 minute to Shuttleworth. Let's go and talk to our resident expert Mark. He has some things to say about a very useful piece of software, and it's called the GIMP, which makes you wonder how long it will stay software.
Today we're doing it with another fantastic piece of open source software. This is the GIMP, an image editing application. So you use this to retouch photographs or for creating whole new images, digital images, for the web or for design. If you're an artist, then this is the software for you. It's available on Windows and on Linux.
Before you ask, the word GIMP stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program. And you know what the GNU part of that means? Yep, it's distributed free under another acronym, the GPL, or General Public License. It has the power of costly professional programs such as Photoshop and PhotoPaint, with features such as layers, palettes, and a wide variety of tools and filters. And because it's open source, the developers listen to their users, and they release relevant enhancements early and often. The GIMP is available free in lots of languages on Linux, Windows, Mac, and Unix.
Now that you've grokked the GIMP, check out a book called Grokking the GIMP. You can get it off the GIMP website at www.gimp.org.
To find out anything about our program and any of the details you might have missed, go to our website, www.goopensource.org. It's all there, it's all detailed, you'll find whatever you need. Coming up next, an awesome competition with prizes worth thousands. Viruses are bad and spam is bad. How do you fight them? Well, let's ask an expert. Here's Barry Irwin. Barry? It's time to meet our BOFFIN of the week. Please meet security researcher at Rhodes University, Barry Irwin. Hello, Barry.
Hi.
What is the greatest single threat to my existence online?
The very fact that you actually are online. If you're going onto the internet without firewall or other sort of security precautions, you are vulnerable to any one of 1 million people out there.
You were talking earlier about that virus that almost crashed the entire internet. I mean, where does it all end?
As fast as people discover vulnerabilities, other people will be making use and exploiting those vulnerabilities, and you've got your third column of people trying to write protection.
Do you think that there's benefits to open source? Or, I mean, is it just because of the low usage at the moment that makes it more or less vulnerable to sort of security threats?
Some of the proponents will say, but look at open source, it has all these holes. Yes, they have holes, but again, the developers of those products are usually very, very quick to respond, often a matter of hours. To sum it up, I'd say open source solutions are probably, in the long run, a far more secure option to go with because of the fact they are constantly being reviewed. They are being run in multiple places. There are more eyes actually checking through the source code for potential problems.
How do we control the amount of spam that arrives that's not actually relevant mail to what I do?
There's a couple of ways, regardless of what mail client you use, a couple of sort of simple principles that one can follow. The first is don't go and put your email address in every website that asks for it. The other options are never actually reply to spam.
What can open source products offer the normal everyday user in terms of security?
So there are 2 open source products that have quite a nice set of abilities to help the end user deal with the deluge of spam that's coming in these days. One of them is a really nice mail client called Thunderbird. It does everything that your commercial clients do and more. And one of the nicest things it has built in is it's got a bit of an artificial brain built into it. It can tell you when it thinks that mail that has come in is actually spam. And over a period of about a month or so, you can teach this thing to get more and more accurate.
What is the best piece of advice you can give as a security researcher?
Make sure your antivirus is up to date. Make sure that any patches for whatever operating system you are using up to date. And make sure and just keep an eye out for if there are any updates for the actual applications you use.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us in the program.
Thanks very much.
And we hope to keep us safe in the future.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Barry. Go Open is all about empowerment, which is why I'm urging you to make a note of the web addresses we're about to show you. The first one is for Creative Commons. You just heard the arguments. Now you can become an intellectual property rights activist. Can you handle that?
13101.